Anchor is a fantastic platform for podcasting. It's so simple. It's remarkable. Even I could do it, and it's free distribution, free recording, easy, simple, elegant to use framework, great tools. If you're going to pick one podcasting forum, platform, it should definitely be Anchor. I highly recommend it.
Why Alexa is so addictive. So in life, in human relationships, it's a give and take, and sometimes you get what you want, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you're frustrated, sometimes you're disappointed, sometimes you're happy. So, but with technology, it could be the same kind of thing, because if you don't, like if you're working with a computer, say like coding, and you don't code it correctly, then it doesn't come out right. So there could be a lot of frustration also. But if you get to the point of mastery with a computer or with a technology, then you don't have the same chance or level of frustration that you do with a human being potentially. Because, for example, with GPS can get you very frustrated if it messes up, but 99.99 times out of 100 now it's not going to mess up. You're not going to get frustrated with your calculator, because you're not going to type in 2 plus 2 and it's going to say 1,000,000. I mean, potentially that could happen. But Alexa is so addictive because, like, for example, like I listen to music and I do a playlist, and it's amazing just the level of joy to be able to, like, say your favorite song and then your next favorite song. Alexa just plays whatever you want. It's just like one joy to another. You can find like unbelievable stations also. I'm sure there's a lot of other things on Alexa that you can do, and I'm looking into that also. But I want to talk a little bit about that in a couple of respects as it applies to human interactions, technology, and the future. So what's happening more and more, and I think the pandemic is a little bit accentuating this, is that people are placing more trust in technology than they are in people. It used to always be that technology was an aid, and because we're social creatures, we're biologically hardwired that way, that we got our greatest satisfaction from human interaction. But increasingly over the decades, I think it's been a little slippery slope. Technology is starting to get the upper hand, and I think the pandemic is accentuating that. I'll explain what I mean. So, for example, cell phones was also an inflection point that, now a lot of families, I don't know the percentage, but they'll sit at the dinner table or during the day, and they'll be sitting all together, but they won't be talking to each other. They'll just be talking they'll just be attending to their cell phones. I've even heard cases of people going on dates and paying attention to the cell phone, not the date. I mean, that's hard to believe, but it's not that hard to believe when you consider that some people are not even just, really dating anymore. They're just texting, or they're just internet dating, whatever that is. I mean, I don't mean internet dating to find a real person. I just mean internet dating just to internet date someone online. I'm not an expert in that area, but technology is becoming more and more of the primary, and human interaction is becoming increasingly the secondary. It's the same thing now with the pandemic accentuated. Like, now we have actually physical social distancing. And I did a podcast on this. People seem increasingly afraid of other people. It used to be that human beings were necessary to help each other, and now it's kind of like human beings, in some respect, some people feel, I think, too much, or a hindrance. You have to stay away from other people because you could be hurt. I mean, obviously, we have to take the pandemic seriously, extremely seriously, and we do have to practice social distancing and other things. But I do worry on the other side of the coin that if we only rely on technology, like I gave a couple of examples, like people want the autonomous drivers because autonomous drivers because they don't want drivers touching their food on food delivery. They want the autonomous kitchens because they don't want humans touching the food in the kitchen. So it's like the idea is remove the human from everything and just have technology to take its place. So Alexa is so addictive because it takes out the human element. And not only that, but it kind of pretends that the human element is still there because Alexa has a voice and increasingly a personality. This is what I want to talk about a little bit. Alexa is going to become more and more addictive, and these other personal assistants and other forms of technology are going to become more and more addictive because they're going to become more human-like in terms of giving us the human-like qualities that we crave, but it's going to become, less human-like, or removing the human factor in the parts that we don't like. So, for example, we like that Alexa will do whatever we want, but in human relationships, we also like a little bit of challenge. It gets boring if like we always, get our way. So I'm sure personal assistants will build that in, just like video games have built in challenge. You can set it to different levels of challenge, like Alexa will challenge you 10% of the time, or 20% of the time, or 30% of the time, or at random, or will challenge you strongly, or will challenge you weakly. Like that can all be factors in, like video games. And also, like in casinos, they become addictive because of intermittent reinforcement. This is why relationships, good or bad, can be addictive also. Relationships should be healthy, but they become unhealthy to the degree that they are addictive at times or certain ones, obviously, because we get some of what we want. So that's reinforcing, but we get some of what we don't want. So intermittent reinforcement, that's a principle of psychology, behavioral analysis, or behaviorism, where a behavior will last longer if you get it some of the time, but you don't get it all the time, because even when you're not getting it, you remember when you did get it. So that's why you keep on pressing the one-arm bandit, the slot machine, because you didn't get it, you didn't get it, you didn't get it, you didn't get it. But 5 times ago you got it, so you think, the next pull I'm going to get it, the next pull I'm going to get it. So if you just always get it, or if you never get it, that is pretty easy to extinguish. Because like if you get it 10 times in a row and then you don't get it 10 times in a row, you'll probably stop because it's like, it's not working anymore. Or if you never get it, you'll just stop because you're like, this machine is broken. But if you get it, twice and you don't get it once, and then you get it 4 times, and you don't get it twice, and you get it once and you don't get it 3 times. I'm only making up those percentages because I don't know what the actual percentage rates are that optimize reinforcement. It could be different for different type of phenomenon, but Alexa is going to start getting into that because, there's good addiction and there's bad addiction. Like you could be addicted to healthy habits, in a disciplined way where it doesn't go crazy, but it helps you to have a good life because you exercise daily, or you have good, personal grooming, or you have good courteous behavior with other people, whatever the habit is. But Alexa and other technology, they're going to increasingly provide that sterile environment that people want so that you can get your food delivered, without touching human hands. But at the same time, they're going to be more like humans in terms of personality, in terms of intermittent reinforcement, things like this. So if you think Alexa is, addictive now, just wait till the future.